So hello everyone who has joined our talk. Today's talk is a bit different than other weeks. We have decided to pre-record this session due to busy schedules and summer vacations. I'm very excited to have a founder of bragbag bags rental service in Lithuania. And I'm saying hello to Kristina.
Hi, everybody.
And today, together with Kristina, we will talk about circular fashion, bags rental, sustainability, and a lot of other topics. I'm very excited to have you with us today, Kristina. So maybe you could just briefly introduce yourself and tell us more about bragbag.
Okay, so thank you, Indra, for having me here. It's an honor. It's a really nice project that you're having, actually. It's really important at the moment. And all these little things that we can help, and if we can talk to somebody about circular things, especially in fashion, it's nice and it helps. Every little helps. So yeah, I am a co-founder of bragbag, which is a luxury bag rental service in Lithuania, as Indra mentioned. We started 2 years ago. In a month, it's going to be 2 years. We're seeing it's the second season for us. Apparently, it is a seasonal business, as I will say later, maybe. And I don't know, what else you want to hear?
That's a very great initiative, I must say. We can see upcoming businesses which suggest rental business models and product as a service becoming a new thing. We have Spotify, where we stopped buying CDs and listening to music based on subscription model. We have Netflix, of course, where we watch movies. We stopped purchasing them, and instead we pay per access. And when it comes to fashion, we all know that it is a highly polluting industry, but it is something that really satisfies our soul. This is something that we wear every day, clothing and accessories and shoes. So it is so interesting to see a different approach to the same items. So talking about that, how was the idea born to stop selling, but instead suggest a rental way of actually accessing bags?
I don't know if you have that much time, because there were a lot of dots that connected into one, actually. So I'll try to be short in here. Well, first of all, I was working in fashion myself for a few years. I was working in several different countries, and I was watching the customer, how he or she behaves, and I noticed that it doesn't matter what country. A woman wants to look as good as possible for as cheap as possible. Women are really smart, you know. Another thing that I watched, technologies in all the other businesses rising, and many businesses adopted technologies in so many creative ways, and fashion was lagging somehow. Of course, there were, I don't know, mirrors with artificial intelligence in the stores. There are some new materials being invented, but in general, it doesn't change the way we consume fashion. And then I thought that, okay, but we're sharing flats, Airbnb, we're sharing cars, CTB in Lithuania, for example. Why not to share fashion items? And the easiest item in fashion to share is, and the really important thing, accessory, is a handbag. So that's how this idea was born, actually. And plus, there were so many things around. For example, I was moving from one flat to another, and then I saw how many unnecessary things I do have, and how I wear it once and then put it some wardrobe shelf, and then I don't use it. It just takes some space. And why cannot I store it in someone's other warehouse or somewhere and use it once or twice in a lifetime, you know?
Absolutely. And talking about customers, what is bragbag's customer? What is the persona? How would you describe her?
Okay, that's also interesting. I'm glad that you asked, because it came as a surprise for me also, because in the beginning we expected our customer to be some fashionista lady who cares about her fashion, who wants to be really trendy and wear what's the latest top items are. So we had many different bags in our shelves so that we could check is it true or not. Apparently, as we do have statistics now, we have our basic customer is just a basic woman from like 25, 35, who's not that much into fashion. She's just really smart. So our business is not about being fashionable. It's actually about being conscious, being smart, about sharing economy, about I don't know, about being conscious about money, spending money. Why to spend it if you can like spend less?
For sure, yes. Every smart financial decision leads to better income and utilization of even the same amount of money that you earn. Um, so you mentioned that renting gives freedom.
Yeah.
How come?
Well, first of all, it gives you more free space in your wardrobe. Then it gives you more money because you spend less. And then it gives, the most important thing for me is that it gives you freedom to look whatever you want to look at the moment, and not what you need to look like. Because when you are buying things, you have to think that it should fit with this and that and that. And okay, so I will not buy, for example, a yellow accessory because it will fit with only one dress and all the rest are green, for example. Yeah. When you are renting, you can rent yellow, purple, green, whatever you want at that moment. So if you're feeling like yellow, just go for it, because it doesn't cost you like hundreds.
So you have freedom to experiment and express yourself at a given moment.
Exactly.
Talking about challenges in this industry, um, do you see any challenges that your business face? Is there any resentment from the customers, or do they actually are craving for this service and they are very eager to try out something new, to go for it, to express themselves, and just rent instead of buying things?
Well, as you can imagine, it is kind of challenging. It's because I think because we're the first ones to be that specific about fashion and about renting. Of course, we do have other rental services, but it's mostly for dresses, for occasional dressing, and it's not really like top of the mind for the girl in Lithuania that, okay, I need a bag that matches. Oh, maybe I'll rent it. No, they don't think about that yet. Yet our goal is to make it like that. Then we have two kind of customers. One are really like, I think they are courageous. This is the big city life livers. They are trying out new things and they are not scared. And then we have all the rest of Lithuania, which I really like. Thinking, I noticed that women are thinking, oh my God, what will happen if I destroy the bag, for example? Or it's not mine, I don't like to have it, but why not to share it, you know? So, and we're seeing that our bags actually have insurance, so you don't have to worry about these small things, you know. But they're like, I don't know, is it mentality or we just need more time? So at the moment it is challenging.
I could imagine so, but I think people need to discover and try out the service themselves. And from what I've seen from the reviews, people are absolutely loving it. They really enjoyed it and they want to come back and they want to recommend it to their friends.
And they do come back actually. And the best advertising is word of mouth. When her friend comes, she tells to another friend. But if you have to but you have to hear some kind of approval from somebody still yet, and that's a shame actually. But we're getting there. In general, if we're speaking about I don't know, about the world and how people are consuming. Everybody's going online. Everybody's moving from ownership to usership. And there are these big trends. We just need more time to cover.
And what does your portfolio consist of? I took a sneak peek and I could see really nice bags from Alexander McQueen and Versace and Karl Lagerfeld, to name a few examples. So they are basically luxurious bags dedicated for an occasional wear, or are they more targeted for casual wear?
Right, as I mentioned in the beginning, women are renting it only for occasional wear. It's not like I'm fashionista, I'm going to the date, I want to be like today, I want to be like rock and roll star. No, it's a friend's wedding, your own wedding, or I don't know, all the other summer parties outside. So that's why we now have all those I don't know, I'm calling them bling bling ones that are most popular. Reason why we do have luxurious bags is that it's not worth having because the woman would rather go and buy it for herself, because it costs only like 29 or something. And then for Versace bag for 600 or 800, have it in that like easy manner. So we are bringing this opportunity for her to wear this Versace bag that she would really love to have, to wear it for one night, and maybe that's enough.
That's true. And I have seen also that you offer a subscription-based model as well for someone who would like to try out the service for a month, let's say. Is this a popular option?
No, not at all. We are Lithuanians, and we are like really shy people. We're shy to try out new things. So we only wanted to test this idea of subscription because it would really ease your life if you would be that fashionista lady. But and also we had this inspiration from Rent the Runway, the company that is renting clothes. They are subscription based business model, and they are really successful. They have around 800,000 users at the moment for subscription. We tested it out and it doesn't work, but we tried.
No. Maybe the time will come to that and we will see a demand from people. Talking about other brands out there already, are there any other brands that inspire you, or maybe who have inspired you to start this venture? Or someone you look up to?
The main inspiration was from Rent the Runway are really successful. They at the moment their value is about $1 billion. So I think it is quite a good measure for success. They have a lot of users, but if you're asking about other brands, there's a lot. There's so many of them, and they just started popping out 2 years ago, for example. And I don't know if I could now mention, I think 20 or something, only in US. There's also this brand Castle, which is actually a platform for making your rental business for fashion. So it's that big, In Lithuania, we also have a few brands, but they are they are renting for occasion wear, and they are renting mostly dresses, and accessories are just like minor thing for them, so not that so much direct competition in here.
Do you see in the future that renting clothes could just be a new normal? Instead of buying our casual dresses, jeans, t-shirts, jackets, we would start renting everything out. Is that feasible at all?
Partly, because I believe that in, for example, I don't know, 20 years, we will be buying some part, basics, for example, jeans and t-shirt, but fashion items will be rented. Because in the end, I think it should come to everybody's minds that it's not worth buying for one time, you know, and why not to share it?
And what do you think about, let's say, seasonal items like winter jackets? Do you think that could be a potential business opportunity to start renting jackets which are massive in the wardrobe? They're taking up so much space. You don't really wear them in the summertime unless you go somewhere skiing, maybe.
Well, it is a good idea actually, but I don't think it depends on the kind of item, but it depends, is it fashion or is it classic actually, because there always will be people who want to own things, and they are usually, as a coincidence, they are like classic lovers. They are quality lovers. They fashion items, and it can be coats, winter, summer, or whatever. But if it's like really loud and it will stay for a few months and then go away, then I think it can be rented.
Also, you mentioned that there are companies already who have been in this clothes rental business for years. Say it is wedding dress rental or some other occasional rental. So it is in essence not a new business, right? But why don't we really think about it through a different lens? Why do you think there is a resentment from the people as well to just bring it more into their casual daily life?
I don't think it is a resentment. It's just the way they're used to the things. They are used to having rentals only for occasional wear. So you have to, that that is the hardest thing, that you have to change the way people think, and it's their habit. You have to change the habit, you know. So it's the hardest part. It will come someday. So yeah, as you're saying, it is kind of an old business model, but just the new thinking, which is the hardest part.
Yeah, absolutely. When you mentioned new thinking, I think that is the key as well, to look into the same through a different lens and see where else in life can we apply this. So I definitely agree on that part to you. And as you also mentioned, there will always be people who will prefer buying versus renting. And if we manage to challenge their perspective, maybe it would be a good achievement. Um, but is it also true that starting a rental business instead of selling items, there are many more variables to consider, and it becomes not as much about providing fashion service, but more about logistics and cleaning and insurance?
It is a big part, you know, but the biggest part actually, it is spreading the word, marketing. You know, it's the hardest job, and all those daily routines, they do take time, they do take some focus, but it's not the biggest, I think. But yeah, when you're starting the business, you have to think of so many details and to work the model through.
Were there any new things that you didn't anticipate before starting the business? Were there
Yeah.
any surprises once you actually
Mhm.
started the rental business?
Well, every step was a surprise actually, and yeah. But the biggest surprise was the thing that I mentioned about the customer. Is that not rental business is not for fashionista lady. It's more for like conscious woman who is counting money and thinking consciously about her space and wardrobe, about sharing economy, about maybe sometimes it's not always, but sometimes about like conscious living all in all. But it's a really rare occasion. I know this because I'm trying to ask all my customers what was the reason, how did they know about us, and they most of them say that it's like because it's not worth having. So it was a surprise for me, the customer herself.
Yes, I think from what I've heard other business practices that it is so important to get to know who is your actual customer and try to appeal to their needs. Of course, you can idealize or have some idea of who the potential customer would be, but when it comes to real life, you figure out that, okay, this was a little bit different than what I thought of. Actually,
Totally
you
what
meant
happened.
Actually, you mentioned this concept of sharing economy during our chat a couple of times already. Could you maybe enlighten us a little bit more of what it is and how would you define it yourself?
Sharing economy. Well, it's a really broad title, but generally it's just for sharing things. I think that you're talking more about circular fashion, right? So the
Exactly.
biggest difference is that in a circular fashion, you have to close the loop at some moment, right? And begin the circle from the beginning again. And here is no closing the loop. You get one item, but many people share it and wear it or use it instead of one. So it's as I said, it's the trend of going from ownership to usership. It makes us not owners but users.
That makes total sense. And also, it enables to utilize the item to its fullest potential instead of sending into landfill. Or
Exactly. And I think that in fashion, for example, we cannot have like totally circular fashion at someday because we will have to throw in new pieces all the time, because the closing the loop would mean that all the stuff goes round and round and it's the same again and again. But if we want to keep fashion in our world still, so we'll have to throw in some new stuff, but then we can make them shareable.
and also maybe we can produce them in more sustainable way.
Totally, yeah.
What would be your idea, because you come from a huge experience in fashion industry and also have been working in the fast fashion company at some point in your life. What would you say, is it such an evil as everybody tells it is, or does it have some good parts as well?
I cannot think straight because I was brainwashed working in those companies. But uh, these companies, they have, of course, some part of evil, but they are trying to compensate that because they know it. And that's the good part. Like cigarette companies, they are fighting for health in some part because they are ruining the health. So it's like, I think in the end it comes out as a balanced, business model. But yeah, like I don't know, 10 years ago it was much worse situation there.
Can you see a big change coming up in the fast fashion industry? For example, that maybe big brands will start subscription models, rental models, or do you think their items just don't have the quality standards?
Well, I don't think, I know it is coming. The big change is coming. You can see yourself all those conscious boxes in many stores, all these organic cotton labels and etc. And big brands also testing rentals. For example, H&M, I don't know if you know, but a year ago they started testing a rental service also of H&M clothing. And I don't know, it starts from like H&M and ends up with Stella McCartney. All those brands are going more and more conscious, more and more shared economy and all that stuff. So the change is coming. Hope sooner than later.
Hopefully so, exactly. How important is it for you to as well integrate some alternative or sustainable brand bags in your portfolio at this very moment?
At the moment, actually, we're not making that much focus on that because we are making it sustainable. So, you know, you can be like, we can take this evil part and make it the good part of sharing economy. So yeah, at the moment, we're not focusing only on conscious or something because it is good at itself, you know, already.
How many times would you say can the bag be rented?
It depends on the bag. We also tested, but if it's quality bag and we do have only quality bags, it's many times, believe me. Of course, if it's not white and if it's not like this and that, there are some exceptions. But the bag, especially when it's rented, you know, the customer, as I said before, they're kind of a bit scared to lose it or to break it. They're taking care more about them because they don't want to pay money for us, although it's insured. So they do live even maybe longer than you would wear it your own.
Because you also take a better care of the bag when it reaches you. You have some partners
Yeah.
who clean them and prepare for the next user.
Yeah, we have a renewal, we have cleaning. So it's actually most of our bags, although it's already second year, they do like look like new ones.
That's very impressive. That means that
Yeah,
also you make sure that you would have a good bag to provide in the first place, and then you just
totally.
make sure to maintain it. Was it
Yeah.
easy to actually have an insurance on such business model, or was it a new thing for the?
Yeah, insurance companies also were really lost, and it took some time until we got one who agreed to do that because they were like, What model? Sharing economy in fashion? Really? No, we don't do that because it's new for everybody. Yeah, so I kind of understand them because they do not know what to expect, but for now, everybody's happy.
That's the most important, and then you can take it as it comes, one little step at a time.
Exactly.
And since your bags are primarily for occasional wear and events, how did your business react to the recent lockdown? Or maybe it didn't hit Lithuania that much due to COVID-19?
It did hit Lithuania, it did hit bragbag as well, because there are no events, there are no rental for events, you know. So it was kind of hard, but once we came out of quarantine, like, I don't know, maybe second day, we had few rents on one day. So people are missing those events, they are missing dressing out, and it was kind of a bad period in that time, and I hope that the second one is not coming.
I hope so too. And do you think it has more to do with the seasonality that now that this is summer, there are a lot of occasions and a lot of going out options?
Yeah,
Or was it just because of the lockdown being removed and
no, our business is seasonal business. So we last summer we had like a bigger growth of rent numbers starting from like when people finish university, they or school, they have these dressing up parties, you know. So these were like last summer the thing, and this summer we lost them because of the lockdown. So there we would have started, but the season, and then all those celebrations that are celebrated outside, wedding and christenings and birthday parties, some fancy birthday parties. They are coming back little by little now, but like last summer it was huge. Like at this moment, like today, we would have had like a bigger boom, and this year, knowing that we're much more known to the public, we expected much more.
I could only imagine that. But let's hope that the craving for events and going out will also boost your business. And actually, just to counteract that, or maybe for some other reason, there is also an option to actually employ your own bag, right? So let's say if I have
Right.
a nice bag and I don't use it, I could reach out to you and ask for your help in actually making other people use it.
Yeah, so you can not only get the bag to wear, you can share your own bag for other women to wear, and you can actually make money of it. So we're saying to our clients that make your bag work for you because it's only staying in the shelf and doing nothing. Uh, and uh, and this was the part where I thought that, well, it will go slow, I think, but why not to talk about it? And actually, it is a success. This part is success. So when you will, if you will be watching our website, when you see this little bubble with a pink lady face, that means that this bag is not ours. It's shared from some person's wardrobe, so maybe it can be, it could be, I hope, some maybe better motivation to choose this bag actually, to that you know that this money goes for that lady.
That is such a good idea. Just helping people rediscover that option too. Just it's very hard to describe the feeling that I have thinking about it, but it is empowering people to start just testing it out, the sharing economy model without big losses, without huge investments from their own side.
There are
Then
so many things. Yeah, there are many things to think about, and if you would have to do that on your own, it's kind of difficult, you know. But we do have the model, we do have partners, we do have the system, and we do have the box where to pack it and how to pack it nicely, you know, because we give a little gift together with the bag. So why not give it to us, and why not to help you earn money? So
it's a very smart idea. And of course, as you mentioned, this model is not necessarily only about fashion, but actually empowering women and making them do smart decisions, or empowering them making smart and sound financial decisions as well, and how to actually make their wardrobe earn some money. Why not?
exactly.
Awesome. Actually, I would like to now move to the last part of our interview, and that would be 5 statements that I came up for you, and I will read them one by one, and I would just like you to fill out the remaining bit of that sentence.
Okay, let's do that.
Perfect. So let's start with the first statement. To me, sustainability is.
The way of living, because you're thinking about all parts of your life when you are sustainable.
That's a very good answer. It incorporates all aspects of life. The second statement is one thing I would like to see more of in the world is.
Well, I know it sounds lame, but smiles.
Why is that? Why is it so simple?
People are grumpy actually, and that annoys me. I'm going with a smile on the street and then I'm awkward. No, let's all be awkward.
Yes, and let's make that a new norm. A third one. For a complete beginner in the sustainability area, I would suggest to start off with.
To start with yourself. No, actually to start reading, because you do need some information about sustainability, and there's a lot of it, and I think it's difficult maybe to choose from, so wisely read.
I think education is power. Definitely, I agree. I agree to you. And the more you widen your horizons, the more questions you have, the more answers you seek, and the more long-lasting change you can create for yourself, and then it ripples to others as well. The fourth statement, almost the last one. Every sustainable business, and the first thought that comes to your mind.
I have one word in my mind: respect. So I don't know how it goes together, but I think that every sustainable business is respectful to people, to earth, to others, to themselves. I think it's respect.
I think it's a very strong statement, and it incorporates everything that the business should consider, or like it could be a key pillar, and then it positively impacts all the other partners, suppliers, supply chain, and customers, and even within the business itself, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, we can start from respect and then everything just flows.
Awesome. The last statement is, in 2 to 3 years, I see Brad Bag.
Wildly spread all over the world in most of the women's minds.
Do you have any particular ideas or initiatives for those upcoming 2 to 3 years for Brad Bag?
We are actually thinking and we're going like hand in hand with empowering women, all those, events that are encouraging women to start businesses, to like themselves, to be themselves, to just empower them. All that stuff is going together with Brag Bag's idea, because Brag Bag is the empowering tool, empowering your style, empowering your wallet, and empowering your way of living, and etc. So it has to do something with that.
I think it's so needed, and it's a very strong movement going on these days, especially. So I'm very happy again to hear that you are contributing to that, and you're in full support, and you're actually not only supporting it, but you're actually making it happen. So what would you say would be your three key takeaways from our talk today that you would like everyone to take after having listened to our conversation?
It's hard to sum up in like a few words, but our message of Brag Bag is that we should think more carefully how we consume fashion, but that doesn't mean that we should look simple or we should look like we whatever how we have to look. We can be whatever we want to be, but it's not necessarily evil, So just there are some ways. You just have to be more brave to try them out, and if it's already there, that means it works. So just do it.
I totally agree to your idea that fashion or sustainable fashion doesn't have to be boring. We don't have to be plain. Fashion is about freedom, freedom to express yourself, to liberate yourself, and to experiment. And I think that's exactly what Bragbag does. As we talked in the beginning, it also helps people experiment more and more freely, and with little cost involved, so to say.
Yes, and I hope that your project is spreading this word.
I hope that everyone who listened to our talk really enjoyed it too and found it very interesting and inspiring. And I would really like to thank Kristina, to you, that you found the time in your busy schedule and in all the vacation period and everything. So I'm extremely, extremely grateful for you to have had a talk with us today. And thanks a lot for sharing your knowledge and revealing some secrets and sneak peeks into the backside of your rental business.
Thank you, Indra, for inviting me, for having me, and for making this new kind of way live video for you. And good luck to your project.
Thank you so much.